The main event is here right now, and that's Jimmie Johnson. And he's the driver of the number 48
I should probably apologize to Junior first, though.
What's that?
As he wanted this 8:15 slot, and I took it from him.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that, too. I got some property I'll sell you, too, Jim. Jimmie Johnson's leading us off here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You couldn't ask for a better one. Driver of the number 48 Cobalt Tools Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, 6-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion.
Got the wrong shirt on. Is Cobalt this weekend?
It's Lowe's.
Lowe's or Cobalt?
That's
okay.
Cobalt.
I've got the wrong hat and shirt on.
That's okay, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
I haven't seen the car yet. It's coming soon.
It's okay. I bet it's fast.
I hope so.
Okay, let's, without further ado, Jimmy's on a tight schedule, and I need to quit talking, so let's just open it up for questions. Let's go ahead. Bob Pockris. Got the wireless mic. Brittany Ussel over there. Not
Bob
Brittany, it's
Pockris,
Taylor.
ESPN. You've won a lot of races here. Gordon's won a lot of races here. He talks so much about it being special because he's from Indiana. Do you get any sense of the difference of what this race, winning this race means between you versus him?
You know, for me, it's a special track for me. I mean, my whole world was the Indy 500, and I wanted to be here and race in an open wheel car. Growing up in Southern California, NASCAR, just with the television package and media coverage then, it wasn't all that popular. Especially 70s and 80s when I was coming up through. And my whole direction and kind of guidance from Chevrolet was to move into from off-road trucks to Trans Am to Indy Lights to IndyCar. They came to me one day, I think I was at the Long Beach Grand Prix at a Trans Am race, meeting some owners, and they said, hey, we're pulling out of IndyCar next year. If you want to have a future in motorsports, you need to move to North Carolina. You need to figure out this NASCAR thing. So it wasn't long after that, I bought a one-way ticket and was living in Charlotte trying to figure things out. So to be here, to win here, granted it's in a different vehicle, but it still has so much meaning to me because I sat on the couch watching it for years, the 500 with my dad, my grandfather, and it really was the race for me growing up. Clearly I learned about Daytona later on, and I've been very fortunate to experience both. It's hard to pick one. I could say that Daytona, you feel like it's a bit more out of your control for a win. You know, others' decisions really lead to you staying at the head of a line or getting the push you need to finish in the lead. Where here, you know, it's much more car driver oriented, and decisions you make really have an outcome. So a little bit more offensive of a win here and a little different feel.
Okay, let's go. Jared, I believe, had one, and then Dustin, do you have one? And we'll go to Kenny, and we'll see where we are from there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jared Turner, FoxSports.com. Jimmy, apologize, I know it's early in the morning for this, but I just wanted the latest on your contract extension and whether or not you expect Chad to be back next year.
Yeah, we still have, is it next year on our contract? I don't even know. We're obviously not concerned, so we're getting things buttoned up with Lowe's, with Hendrick, with Chad, myself, all of that. So, like I said, I think last week, I'm home. It's just a formality at this point to get everything kind of finished up and done.
Let's go to Dustin and then Kenny. Go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. What are the questions you have coming into today? What are the things you're going to be thinking about with the package, with the different gearing, and all the different variables today? What are you going to be working through, and how are you going to be examining that stuff?
From my standpoint, it's just how much throttle are we going to run around here? I mean, is it flat in qualifying? Turns 3 and 4 seem to be a little bit more forgiving than 1 and 2. So do you run flat in 3 and 4, have to lift a little 1 and 2? You know, with these vehicles, especially in the nationwide side, we often hear that somebody ran wide open around the racetrack and they're a little bit slower. So is it better to do a slight lift and not overload the chassis and have too much steering wheel input in the car and drag speed out of it? So the driver, I'm excited to get on the track and just figure out what the effort level is going to be. And the driver's inputs have such an outcome on the setup of the race car that from there, and once we all get a rhythm on the racetrack, we can start making good changes. So I know the team has lots of questions with power band and how we go about working this car, that tail section on the back of the car that we run on the super speedways, and that creates a lot of drag. You know, so the ride height of the vehicle is going to be real crucial, and there's varying theories on where that needs to be. So today is going to be a very busy day, and I'm not sure we'll get all the answers we want, but we'll at least get going in the right direction.
He's on a real tight schedule. I'm sorry, we're going to take two more, Kenny and Kurt, and I'm
Kenny
sorry
Bruce
about the other ones.
With NASCAR.com. Jimmy, you kind of touched on this, but as far as not knowing the gearing, I mean, obviously, you know, they have a starting point, but there are some options out there that they may go to. How much difference does that make from where you're seated?
It's a big difference, and I didn't realize how sensitive the engines were until they reduced the power. I think with less power, a couple hundred RPM is a massive difference in acceleration rate, and especially the starting point, because the engines perform, you know, just if you pick a random number, at 7,500, that's where they start to build. At 73, there's nothing there. So if your minimum is 75 on new tires, and then they go to, you know, you have a second, 2 seconds of fall off, that just keeps moving down, and the car's so doggy up off the turn. So it's not easy to get it right, and obviously with these long straightaways in the draft, you can get a lot of RPM, so it's not going to be an easy target to hit. And I would assume NASCAR is going to side on less gear to try to take care of the engines, if I was to guess.
Final question, Kurt.
Hate that this is the last question, but Kurt Cabot, Indianapolis Star. Is it, no matter what you do here, the rest of your career is probably always Jeff's track, Jeff's event. Is that okay with you? And are you probably glad to see him go in terms of competition at this event?
No, I'm not glad to see him go. I've been so excited to watch Jeff win here and the success that he's had here. Even how crazy this place has been when Stewart's won here. It's cool to see the fans get behind their guy. And I've been able to experience that at Fontana, and just admire the experience that Jeff and even Tony have had here at the track with winning and watching this place go nuts over them winning.
Jimmie Johnson, thank you very much for coming in bright and early.